Daniel, chapters 7 and 8. In the first year of Belteshazzar, king of the Chaldeans, Daniel had a dream, and visions of his head upon his bed, and he wrote his dream. I, Daniel, beheld, and lo, the four winds of heaven blew violently upon the great sea. There came up four great beasts out of the sea, differing from one another. The first was as a lioness, and her wings as an eagle's. I beheld until her wings were plucked, and she was lifted off from the earth, and she stood on human feet, and a man's heart was given to her. And behold, a second beast like a bear, and it supported itself on one side, and there were three ribs in its mouth between its teeth. And thus they said to it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this one I looked, and behold, another wild beast as a leopard, and it had four wings of a bird upon it. And the wild beast had 4 heads, and power was given to it. After this one I looked, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and exceedingly strong, and its teeth were of iron, devouring and crushing to atoms, and it trampled the remainder with its feet. And it was altogether different from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. I noticed his horns, and behold, another little horn came up in the midst of them, and before it 3 of the former horns were rooted out. And behold, there were eyes as the eyes of a man in this horn, and a mouth speaking great things. And I beheld until the thrones were set, and the Ancient of Days sat, and his raiment was white as snow, and the hair of his head as pure wool. His throne was a flame of fire, and his wheels burning fire. A stream of fire rushed forth before him. Thousands ministered to him, and 10,000s of myriads attended upon him. The judgment sat, and the books were opened. I beheld them because of the voice of the great words which that horn spoke, until the wild beast was slain and destroyed, and his body given to be burnt with fire. And the dominion of the rest of the wild beasts was taken away, but a prolonging of life was given them for certain times. I beheld in the night vision, and lo, one coming with the clouds of heaven as the Son of Man, and he came on to the Ancient of Days, and was brought near to him. And to him was given the dominion, and the honor, and the kingdom, and all nations, tribes, and languages shall serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom shall not be destroyed. As for me, Daniel, my spirit in my body trembled, and the visions of my head troubled me. And I drew near to one of them that stood by, and I sought to learn of him the truth of all these things. And he told me the truth, made known to me the interpretation of the things. These 4 beasts are 4 kingdoms that shall rise up on the earth, which shall be taken away, and the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, and possess it forever and ever. Then I inquired carefully concerning the 4th beast, for it differed from every other beast, exceeding dreadful. Its teeth were of iron, and its claws of brass, devouring and utterly breaking to pieces, and it trampled the remainder with its feet. And concerning its 10 horns that were in its head, and the other that came up, and rooted up some of the former, which had eyes, and a mouth speaking great things, and its look was bolder than the rest. I beheld, and that horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and he gave judgment to the saints of the Most High. And the time came on, and the saints possessed the kingdom. And he said, The 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom on the earth, which shall excel all other kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and trample and destroy it. And his 10 horns are 10 kings that shall arise, and after them shall arise another, who shall exceed all the former ones in wickedness. And he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and shall think to change times and law, and power shall be given into his hand for a time, and times, and half a time. And the judgment has sat, and they shall remove his dominion to abolish it, and to destroy it utterly. And the kingdom, and the power, and the greatness of the kings that are under the whole heaven were given to the saints of the Most High. And his kingdom is ever an everlasting kingdom, and all powers shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my thoughts greatly troubled me, and my countenance was changed, but I kept the matter in my heart. In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belteshazzar, a vision appeared to me, even to me, Daniel, after that which appeared to me at the first. And I was in Susa, the palace, which is in the land of Elam, and I was on the bank of Ubal. And I lifted up mine eyes, and saw, and behold, a ram standing in front of the Ubal, and he had high horns, and the one was higher than the other, and the high one came up last. And I saw the ram butting westward, and northward, and southward, and no beast could stand before him. There was none that could deliver out of his hand. He did according to his will, and became great. And I was considering, and behold, a he-goat came from the southwest on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the earth. And the goat had a horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had the horns, which I had seen standing in front of the Ubal. And he ran at him with the violence of his strength. And I saw him coming up close to the ram, and he was furiously enraged against him, and he smote the ram, and broke his horns. And there was no strength in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him on the ground, and trampled on him. There was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. And the he grew exceedingly great, and when he was strong, his great horn was broken, and 4 other horns rose up, and is placed toward the 4 winds of heaven. And out of one of them came forth one strong horn, and it grew very great toward the south, and toward the host, and it magnified itself to the host of heaven. And there fell to the earth some of the host of heaven and of the stars, and they trampled on them. And this shall be until the chief captain shall have delivered the captivity, and by reason of him the sacrifice was disturbed, and he prospered, and the holy place shall be made desolate. And an offering was made for the sacrifice, and righteousness was cast down to the ground, and it practiced and prospered. And I heard one saint speaking, and a saint said to a certain one speaking, How long shall the vision continue, even the removal of the sacrifice, and the bringing in of the sin of desolation? And how long shall the sanctuary and host be trampled? He said to him, Evening and morning there shall be 2,300 days, and then the sanctuary shall be cleansed. And it came to pass, as I, even I, Daniel, saw the vision, and sought to understand it, that behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man, and I heard the voice of a man between the banks of the Ubal, and he called and said, Gabriel, cause that man to understand the vision. When he came and stood near where I stood, and when he came, I was struck with awe, and fell upon my face. But he said to me, Understand, son of man, for yet the vision is for an appointed time. And while he spoke with me, I fell upon my face to the earth, and he touched me, and set me on my feet. And he said, Behold, I make thee know the things that shall come to pass at the end of the wrath, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. The ram which thou sawest that had the horns is the king of the Medes and Persians. The he-goat is the king of the Greeks, and the great horn which was between his eyes, he is the first king. And as for the one that was broken, in whose place there stood 4 horns, 4 kings shall arise out of his nation, but not in their own strength. And at the latter time of their kingdom, when their sins are coming to the full, there shall arise a king bold in countenance and understanding riddles. And his power shall be great, and he shall destroy wonderfully, and prosper, and practice, and shall destroy mighty men and holy people. And the yoke of his chain shall prosper. There is craft in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by craft shall destroy many, and he shall stand up for the destruction of many, and shall crush them as eggs in his hand. And the vision of the evening and morning that was mentioned is true, and do thou seal the vision, for it is for many days. And I, Daniel, fell asleep, and was sick. Then I arose and did the king's business, and I wondered at the vision, and there was none that understood it. The Revelation of St. John the Theologian, Chapter 20. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil, and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loosed as a little season. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus, and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads, or in their hands. They lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power. But they shall be priests of God and of Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the 4 quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints about, in the beloved city, and fire came down from God out of heaven, and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night for ever and ever. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire.